Chris Roberts here for Fight Up TV. I'm joined by Eddie Hearn. How's things?
Good, mate. You?
Not too bad.
Good.
So it's turned out Gerald Miller, he's great at Poland, very entertaining.
Yeah.
He's generating a lot of interest.
Yeah.
How have you found today?
Good. I mean, interesting head to head. It's nice to see AJ with a bit of spite. You know, I think sometimes see the responses, oh, he always says the same thing. But he's just, you know, he mentioned in the press conference, he likes to be a decent person. He likes to try and be an ambassador for the sport and a role model. But he's still that kid from the street that when you press his buttons, you see the reaction. And you know, some of his comments today, you don't really hear him say that kind of thing.
Do you think it's been a bit of a delayed reaction from New York?
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I think that was like a bit, whoa, where's that come from? And then this is more like, okay, so you're in my patch now, I'm going to tell you how it is over here. So,
Miller on the other hand seems to be relaxed as anything.
Yeah, well he was like off the plot in New York. Yeah. So I think AJ just wants to knock him out. He wants to, like he said, reconstruct his face, which, you know, these are the kind of things you don't often hear him saying, but that's how he feels. He doesn't respect Miller and he wants to knock him out, which I think is good news for people watching.
And in terms of the fight, how do you see it panning out? So obviously, you know, away from sort of the fight, outside the ring, you know, entertainment wise, you know, I think it's ticking all the boxes definitely from a business point of view.
It's a good fight. Look, you know, we couldn't get obviously Wilder Fury down to fight each other. Dillian White fight didn't happen. So then we move on. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to go and sell out the MSG against an American in his backyard who can fight, who can talk. It's the perfect thing to do. And actually, the more every day that passes, especially being out in New York last week, this is starting to look like a great move. And the Yanks are going to love him. And this is going to be a big night for him.
In terms of, you know, doing that sort of US tour, I know he's been in America before, in New York and stuff, but in terms of his profile, have you seen that sort of develop throughout the week?
And you can put him into any interview, any talk show. I mean, the New York Stock Exchange, and everybody loves him because he's got a smile that lights up the room. He's a perfect athlete, and like I said, he's a good role model. He ticks all the boxes in that respect. But it's one thing going over there and doing a bit of media, but it's another thing fighting there. And this time around, you know, he's going to be fighting at MSG. He's going to be selling it out. It's going to be a major statement, and I think they're going to love him.
I know that wasn't his preference to go to America, but do you think that'll make it? I mean, I know you touched on that, but do you think it will make a difference? I mean, a ring's a ring.
Yeah, the little things, time zones, commissions. Like when you're in the change room there and you've got different people coming in and out, the ham rat, it's just a different kind of experience, different environment. He's professional enough to deal with all that, but it's just little things that when you're as regimented as AJ is, little things can just throw you off a little bit. So that is a challenge as well, other than Miller. But you know, it's a challenge that I think he'll overcome.
And what did you make of the rapping and the freestyle and stuff
good.
like that?
It was good. I mean, I think Miller's one might have been a little bit rehearsed. Like he went in a couple of days later, but I was in there with Josh and they just stuck it on him. And,
I thought you were going to do it again.
I know. I was like, no, don't do that. It could look cringe. So yeah. So listen, it's all entertaining for the build-up, and I think you're going to see a good fight.
It's amazing, isn't it, that we're in an era where we've got, I suppose, like, you know, a number of heavyweights who are, you know, massively outspoken. They're all bouncing off each other. Yeah. It's an incredible time.
It is a great time, and you know, boxing. The size of boxing, the growth of boxing often depends on the heavyweight division. So I think boxing's in a boom time, but with so many good heavyweights out there, it's just going to bring more attention to the sport.
What did you make of Tyson Fury's deal with ESPN?
Yeah, I don't know the exact details, but you know, you've got to look after yourself and your business, and you know, he's done that. Obviously, it's going to make the bigger fights harder to make. But if he's got a good deal, I mean, I think he gives it all to charity anyway, doesn't he? So it doesn't really matter how much it is. So good luck to him.
Did you watch any of the fights on the weekend?
I didn't. I was in Mexico. We had a show there, but I followed it all on social. I mean, you know, the first reaction was, thank God we didn't do it, because we would have been absolutely rinsed for it. You imagine the stick we would have got. I knew DeGale was well past his best, but I started to talk myself into the fact that maybe he had enough to deal with Eubank. You know, apparently Eubank did well, and DeGale was, no disrespect to him, but awful. So
I thought it was not personally. Yeah. I thought it was reasonably entertaining.
I was only following it on social media, and it was just like, you know, it looked like my normal Twitter feed.
Do you know what? I think Eubank deserves a lot of credit. Really, I think he's got a lot of pressure, obviously with his arm and everything else. I think people are sort of out to get him, but I think he did all right. You know what I mean? He didn't use the jab particularly well, but you know what I mean. He was in there and he worked hard.
Yeah, I think James was just sort of holding and surviving, and you know, by the sounds of things.
Well, listen, at the end, thanks for Fight Up TV.
Cheers, mate.
All the best.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks.